Hi, Meg. All
Hi.
right. So I'm excited to talk to Meg Vanderbilt, who is the executive director of Bit of Hope Ranch in North Carolina. And we're going to talk today about true emotional healing and the work that she does with executives, with adults, with children, both with your equine therapy and with the emotion code and body code. So welcome, Meg. And so I'm curious, like, how did you get involved in equine therapy and in the emotion code and body code?
Well, hey, Caprice, it's nice to be here with you today. I love sharing my story because hope that it will inspire a lot of others to also pursue their dreams, and to do what they're supposed to be doing in life. But I was a teacher by design and did that well for several years. But I struggled with the kids that were, quote, at risk in my classroom because I knew if they could just come out to the farm where I also worked part-time, that I could help them. But nowhere around was doing equine therapy like this. There was a lot of physical therapy that happened with horses. That's happened since the 1950s. But mental health in horses was a whole new thing. So I was way outside the box before there was a box. So we basically take in horses, mainly most of them are on their second, third, and fourth careers. And they have also had trauma, wounds, issues mentally, physically, emotionally. And we use licensed counselors to work with the horses and the clients to bring about change. So the reason I love the horses, first of all, they're grounding. People just feel better being in the green space outdoors and connected with the animal, but the animals see what's going on the inside. And that's what we have a hard time with, because if we could fix it, if we knew about it, we could fix it. But it's the stuff that's hidden, it's on the inside that we have a hard time accessing. So horses by design, their prey nature, are designed to be keenly aware of our intentions and our energy and what's going on. So they will react in the moment to what a client is presenting. Doesn't matter verbally what's coming out of the client's mouth, the horse is reading the heart, the intention. And so that's how they're able to take that and have basically instant feedback with the client, and the client can make choices about how to move forward on their journey. So it's a beautiful process to watch the horse and the client move forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. When I was younger, I did ride horses, and I know that they could sense my fear. Like, hey, I was about to ride a very large horse, and I was feeling fearful. They would, instantly sense it and get a little fidgety. So give me an example of how a horse would read someone's inner, I guess, truth.
They do. I tell you, I love it. So it's funny, we don't train our horses to do this. They do it innately. It's in their DNA. And so if we have, let's say we had a big high schooler come in, big high school boy, but he was just really struggling at school. He had dropped out of sports, and we didn't know exactly what was going on when he arrived, but he wanted nothing to do with horses. So the horse and him stood on opposite sides of the arena for like the whole session, the whole first session, really awkward. He came back for the second session, and we realized through working with this horse that he had actually watched his dad pass away in his own home. And so he had been carrying this trauma and hadn't shared it with anybody except close family. And he was grieving. And so what we did is we watched this horse come over and gently, literally push him with his nose and kind of force him to move to different places in the arena. And of course, a horse is 1,000 pounds. When the horse pushes, you're going to move. And so
Right.
we just watched this horse continuously just like nudge and push this big old football guy around until finally the client, the young man and the horse really developed a bond. And so once the man was able to let his guard down and start talking about what was really going on the inside, he could walk anywhere in the arena and that horse would follow right behind him.
Oh,
No rope,
wow.
no halter, nothing. So it's really about the horse knows when you become congruent. Basically, we say when your insides match your outsides, the horse knows that. And the horse wants to be with you. Otherwise, the horse is either going to show stress signals, running away, kicking, biting, pushing, things like that. So that's what the therapist is watching, not necessarily the client, but what is the horse telling us? What is the horse doing?
Oh, wow. So have you ever been bit by a horse?
Yes, of course.
Ouch. They got
I
big
probably
teeth.
deserved it.
Right. All right. Well, so that work is all in person in North Carolina, but then you also work in person and remotely with clients offering the emotion code and the body code. And it was interesting because Meg and I teed up this conversation, and then I discovered on my computer the emotion code ebook that I bought, I don't know, several years ago. So here we are. So tell me how you discovered that and what your work looks like with those
Sure.
modalities.
Well, I really resisted it for quite a while, I have to say. I'm a science teacher. I have a science background, and so I was very hesitant about this emotion code and vibration, and I was like, "Oh, that's just for new agers, I don't want anything to do with that," especially being a Christian.
Yeah.
I was very cautious about that. But I'll tell you, the Lord had a different way for me to learn about it is with the horses that come to us obviously have a lot of emotional trauma and wounds. And so Western medicine was only helping them so much. We could feed them, we could give them any vaccinations they needed, but what do you do with the mental and emotional part of a horse that's broken? And
Mhm.
so it really led me down to looking for other ways to help these horses. And I finally just got to a point of like, Holy Spirit, if this is from you, you need to show me that it works. So I pulled out my handy dandy emotion code chart, which everybody can access that on Google now. And I went through muscle testing the best I could. And the first emotion that I released on this horse started blinking, 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 like really strange. And I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? And then he let out this huge yawn and then just lowered his head and looked like he went to sleep. And this was all without me touching him. I was just swiping emotions off inches from his spine. And it was enough to be like, okay, let me try again. And so
Mhm.
that's what got me exploring is I would use the horses as my test subjects to see if this was real because horses can't lie. They're not going to make it up. And if the horses responded, that was my proof that there was more to this than I ever understood. So that led me down into more of the quantum physics rabbit hole and learning
Mhm.
more about vibrational medicine and that we have a lot more than what we can just physically see around us that's affecting us. So the horses were showing me how the emotions were interacting. And so with clients, as they come in and as they are wanting emotional clearing, it's done very similar. It's identifying the block, the log jam, and removing it. And it's a simple, beautiful process.
And you do that through muscle testing and asking questions.
I do. There's multiple ways to muscle test. You can get on YouTube and find 101 ways to muscle test. Usually mine are just a sticky finger, or I'll just do something real quick like this. You'll see a lot of people do the sway test, but that takes
Yeah.
forever and a day. So I'll just do something really quick. And all we're asking are yes and no questions. So if I was muscle testing you, I can't read your thoughts. I'm not
Mhm.
hypnotizing you. All I'm wanting to know is it a yes or no? And really, it's beautiful because how we are designed to detect truth. We are designed for truth. And
Mhm.
so when a true statement comes to us, our bodies recognize truth. And actually, our muscles get strong. It's an electrical shift. And when there's a lie, we are designed to detect lies. There's an electrical shift, and our muscles will actually go weak.
Mm.
So, can I give you a quick fun example?
Absolutely.
Okay, and everybody can try this too. So your tongue is a muscle. All right, this is how I teach a lot of kids how this works. And I'll say, because my name is Meg. So I'll say, my name is Meg, and I'm going to wag my tongue like that. If I
Okay.
say, my name is Alan, my tongue is it's sticky. It won't move. So you can go around the house today practicing. My name is Caprice. And you'll feel the shift in the muscle because we're designed to recognize truth.
Oh, that is so interesting. Because that's one that's hard to mess up. Your tongue's not gonna. Yeah, the one that I like for muscle testing is because there's an electrical system that goes up your thumb and your three fingers, and then there's a separate one on your pinky. So I connect that. I just put my thumb over my pinky, and then I do duck lips or whatever, And then if I, yes, you can break the circuit, and no, just automatically. So, right. So if you want to know, should I eat the, order this on the menu? Is this vitamin going to support me? This fake
Right.
chemical vitamin, probably not.
Right.
So that really points to the like we've been trained in society to outsource our well-being to experts,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? And it sounds like the work you're doing is really honoring people's inner knowing and the fact that they're designed to heal both body, mind, and spirit.
Absolutely. And we come with a manual, a working manual. If you buy your refrigerator comes with a manual that tells you how to operate it, that tells you how to troubleshoot it. And our bodies are even more, innately designed by God, and we come with a manual. And so by asking the right questions, we can access information. Now, I do warn people, you have to be careful what you're asking. You know, if you're asking for future things, that's divination. That's a whole different thing. If you're trying to play the lottery, I wouldn't suggest that, or should I sell my house or not? I don't think I would do that. That's Holy
Uh,
Spirit territory. But if you're asking for your body, will this strengthen me? Will this weaken me? This is how you're designed to understand what is good for you in this moment.
Right. So I understand. Yeah, no divination. I mean, I think I've spoken before about how I got fooled by New Age and have repented. But they're so sneaky, right? So sneaky. But you could still muscle test to see if someone in your life is having a positive effect on you or not, or is that kind of a gray zone too? I mean, can you use the emotion code and body code for relationship issues?
Yes, and I actually do that a lot. You have to think about how you're going to ask this. The general question you'll hear people say is, is this for my highest good? Well, that's really broad. Like if I was typing something in the Google search bar and I would type, what is good for me? And can you
Oh,
imagine what Google's going to pop up? I mean, so you need to really think about in your Google search bar, what are you typing in? So is this person going to help me reach the state of calm that I want to be? Or is this person going to help me, complete this task? So you need to get very specific in how you ask the questions. Is this person safe for me? Does it
right.
this person honor me? So
Okay.
good question asking to me is just as important, if not as more important than the actual muscle testing technique.
Which might point to why, I mean, you and I spoke briefly about how both the body code and the emotion code are designed as self-help, but then you can also engage with someone who's certified to do it. And I think just engaging with someone who can ask powerful questions. I mean, I've been a personal professional coach for 25 years, and part of the reason people come to me is because they're not finding the solutions because they're not asking the right questions, right?
Right. And we all have those blind spots.
Mhm.
I even see another practitioner from time to time. I need to get cleaned up.
Mhm.
So, but that's I love the fact that it is a lot of self-help. I tell people, you go to the dentist to get your teeth cleaned twice a year, but that doesn't mean you don't brush your teeth twice a day. Like,
Right.
right? It's a team effort.
Right. So, what is the difference between the emotion code and the body code?
So the emotion code is a wonderful, powerful tool. The body code is the emotion code on steroids. That's usually what I tell people. So you can clear, I want to say 60% of issues if you have intuition, if you ask the right questions using the emotion code. It's a great place to start. I always encourage people go there, get their certification because you're going to learn a ton. The body code is going to take it deeper. So sometimes emotions will not clear until you understand, basically until you decode them, to use their language a little bit more. Sometimes you need to know what system is this emotion in, or where is this pathogen that's also attached to this negative emotion. Or maybe I've created an association with an idea that I can't let go until I release this emotion. So motion code is great, but body code is going to take it deeper. So we look at spiritual issues. We clear entity stuff from people, from homes, from businesses. We can test with that. Mental problems like mental blocks. A lot of times people have a no will energy to heal, a no will to be open to relationships. There's a lot of charts on false beliefs, negative beliefs, despair anchors. And then, of course, there's just the physical problems. I've hurt my knee, a torn meniscus, headaches. A lot of people come with GI issues. And so
Mhm.
we're able to kind of track that down and go a little further and reset some of those body systems, the meridians, the chakras, things like that, that will get the body back into working alignment faster.
Right, right. And people might hear you talk about meridians and chakras and go, wait, I thought Meg was a Christian, but you can I think because some of these understandings have been distorted and misused by people that are maybe confused,
There we
right?
go. That's a good way to put that. But I was the same way, I told you I struggled with that in the beginning and I had to go back to the horses. And when I saw the different energy patterns that the horses all had, no matter what size or age they were, there was a consistent pattern that kept showing up where the energy would shift and change. So we
Mm.
can call it different names. We can call it energy centers if that's less triggering. But they're
Right.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They are there. Now, no, so it's so interesting. You talked about despair anchors. What is a despair anchor?
So I like to think of this, let's say you've had a bad breakup,
Mhm.
okay, an upset, something you didn't want to happen to you, whatever. And basically, your mind, your subconscious makes a negative decision at that moment, okay? So it's saying, like, maybe I'm never loved or I'll never get ahead. And what it does is it literally puts an anchor down in that timeline, in that place, in your subconscious, so that you will try to move forward away from that situation, but
Mhm.
you'll find yourself getting snapped back, or at least subconsciously. And you'll try to move forward and you'll go back. And people say, I can't get rid of this, or why am I always re-triggered by this? So until you cut that anchor and get rid of that, you're always going to be anchored to whatever that thing was.
Okay. So how do you cut that anchor?
I use faith and I use intention. So I explain this. Most people are used to computers and computer viruses.
Mhm.
So, you've got your hardware and your software that are wonderful. They're helping our computers run now. If I had a virus on my computer, I may know it, but I may not know it because
Right.
the viruses are in the background. So I'll finally realize I have a virus when my computer screen freezes. And then I know I'm in trouble, right? So I'm calling Apple support for that.
Right.
So Apple support will say, hey, can I take over your computer remotely so I can fix and delete this virus? I'm like,
Mhm.
sure, yes. So they temporarily come in, they take over my computer, they find which file it is, where the virus is, where it's corrupted. They hit delete, or however Apple does it,
Right.
restore, right? Restart your computer. Okay. And that's
Mhm.
how that works. So same way. So finding these is through muscle testing. So through the body code, I follow a pattern of what system is it in? What time was it in? Was there a location involved? Another person involved? I'm trying to find the file. Where is this virus located? And
Mhm.
once I get it and once I find it, I delete it. So sometimes I'll see it as different things. A lot of times I'll just squish it. Sometimes I'll swipe to delete it. And
Oh,
so it's just moving energy. It's just energy. So once you see it that way, get rid of it. And then I'll do a reset very often. So sometimes I'll reset with swipes. Sometimes I'll reset through thumping one of my chakras on my hands just to shoot that energy through. It's almost like resetting the breakers after they've tripped in your home.
okay.
And that will get that body system back online and working.
And so you could do that for yourself, but you could also do that for me remotely.
I can do it for your dog or your child or yeah, anybody.
That's so interesting. So, I had a conversation with my father 2 days ago, and he's, nearing the end of his life, and he's regretting some of his parenting. and said,
Yeah.
I really wasn't a good parent, Caprice. And, he and I talk about it. So, but one thing we talked about is like his realizing, raising my sister and I, his advice for boys was all boys are bad.
Oh.
That's all he would say. All men are bad. All boys are
Mhm.
bad. Like that's it. And my sister and I both chose husbands that I wouldn't choose today, given
Yeah.
all of the healing, inner healing and growth that I've done. So could someone like put a despair, I don't know if that'd be a despair anchor, but could a parent install kind of one of those viruses in their child's mind?
Scary, right? We have the power to do that to each other. Well,
Right.
in the body code, it could be a despair anchor. It's also something called a post-hypnotic suggestion, which
Oh.
means it's come from the outside of you. You didn't say it, but
Mhm.
you took it on. You believed it. So it
Right.
could be from a movie, music people listen to, honestly, entities, when you're weak, sick, sleeping, or honestly from people that have leadership over you, like parents. Yeah.
Wow, a post hypno. Why is it called post hypnotic?
So I don't, that's a great question. I think it has to do with, but basically after the events happened, after something's happened, so it usually, like if you're at a high vibrational level, post-hypnotic suggestions don't affect you. They just
Mm-hmm.
bounce off. But if something's happened to get you in a low state, you lost your job, right? Or something like that. After that event, you're more susceptible to receiving these lies. They're lies from the enemy. They are.
Right.
And they
Right.
get implanted and you don't realize it. You just start taking them on as yours.
Right. Right. Yeah. Before we push the record button, I was telling Meg I woke up this morning just feeling really in a pit of despair. And I just said, nope,
Yeah.
not today. Get behind me, Satan. And I said the 23rd Psalm out loud three
There we
times and
go.
like restored, right?
Restore. Yeah.
That was restored. But it's so sneaky because we have been trained to believe that every emotion is like true, right? Like we have to pay attention to how we're feeling, and our feelings will guide us in the right direction. And that's
You gotta be careful with that one.
right. I mean, yes, if you're in a very high vibration state of peace, love, joy, gratitude, probably follow that.
Yeah.
But the other ones, not so much.
No. And I usually tell people there's no judgment on those, but it is like your dashboard light going off. Was I just hit with with a pathogen, or was I hit with an arrow, or what is this, or what do I need nutritionally different, or sleep different, or daylight? Maybe I need to do something. My body's trying to tell me something. So we listen to all of it, good and bad. Yeah.
Hmm. Right, right. And then you also spoke about no will, because I am a strong proponent of free will. We live in a society where people enjoy and are trained to play the victim, to look outside of themselves for what's, oh, my life is blah, 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 because, blame, blame, blame. So, I try to live my life saying that I'm 100% responsible for my thoughts, my feelings, my actions, knowing that the enemy will constantly attack us. But I can say no, no, I don't agree. I don't consent. But how do we give up our free will?
Well, it all goes back to survival. And I'll tell you, I give this example. There's one that comes up very often for people, and this is maybe after they've had several sessions with me, but there's a persistent problem. It comes back. It gets better for a week, but then it comes back. Okay.
Mm,
So that's a clue that there's another sabotage program, a no will program. Something else is running. And so, one that comes up very often is a no will, to be healthy, or a no will to heal. And I'll
mm,
say that, and people are like, no, that's not right. That's why I'm here, to get better. And I said, but here's an example. Let's say you're 7 years old and you really don't like going to school, what 7-year-old does.
no,
And one day you wake up and you have a sore throat. So you get to stay home. Mommy gives you ice cream. You get to watch cartoons in your pajamas. And so you do that. Great. You're sick. You get taken care of. Well, the next day your sore throat's gone. And your mom's like, okay, let's go to school. And
right.
there's part of you that feels much safer staying at home with mom, eating ice cream, watching cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that part of you that will sit in and say, I'm actually safer being sick. On a harder note, this happens with a lot of sexual abuse clients that they'll come in, and at the time, they're here maybe to change their weight. They don't like how much they weigh. Usually they're overweight, and we find a no will energy to be healthy because when they were 17 and they were 120 pounds, they were raped.
Oh.
120 pounds isn't safe.
Mm.
250 pounds is safe.
Right.
That gives me insulation and protection. So these no will energies are really sabotaging programs. And until those shift, you will not be able to make lasting change.
It's so interesting what we subconsciously would associate with safety too, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a big reason why I'm pretty much unplugged from all media,
Mhm.
because if they can keep us in a perpetual state of fear,
Yes.
then we are more likely to get into a no-will state, right?
That's right. That's right. Something to be aware of.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Okay. So I also was reading in the Emotion Code book about heart walls. And I
Mm.
found this to be fascinating, really fascinating,
Mm.
because I know, 9 years ago, going through a traumatic divorce, I recognized that my heart was like so armored up. It was like just a
Mm.
thick wall of armor around my heart that was impenetrable.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
how do you address heart walls with people?
Honestly, I love the concept of a heart wall.
Mhm.
And here's what I tell people: there's never judgment about having them. I think they're a God-given design. If we did not have heart walls in this world, I don't think we'd make it past 2 years old. It's just, and even the Bible says, above all else, guard your heart. Right? So that's where your essence comes from. And so when we are hurt through upsetting events and trauma, we have to do something to protect ourselves. Now, in the moment, it does work, and we grab whatever we can around us to cover our heart. Usually, they're negative emotions that we have laying around. So that's why most of the heart walls you'll find are in the emotion code. Sometimes you'll find in other things, but very often you can track them down through the emotion code. So once you're past the crisis, it's time for that heart wall to come down. I mean, there's other things you can do to get the heart wall down. There's other techniques, but this one's very quick and easy. And so basically, when the body feels safe, we're back to that safe word. When it
Mhm.
feels safe enough for the heart wall to come down, we'll ask how many layers. We'll go through and find the emotion. Remember, we need to find the exact frequency. So let's say a heart wall was made of overwhelm. It's
Mhm.
just a frequency, right? It's just a number, but we need to find which one it is. It just happens to be labeled overwhelm. And some
Mhm.
people will connect it. They'll be like, oh yeah, that season,
Mhm.
totally overwhelmed. And then some people at 3, if it was 3 years old, they're like, I have no idea. I don't know. I stubbed my toe. I don't know. Like, who knows what happened at 3? The good thing is most of the time it doesn't matter. Now, sometimes the body does want you to know more information because it's connected to something bigger. So maybe it's part of those no will energies. Maybe there's a fungus also located within that or something else. So
Mhm.
sometimes we have to dig a little deeper, but then
Mhm.
we go through and we discreate or we swipe or we delete it out. And people will sit there in real time and after we delete several, they'll be like, oh, I can breathe.
Right.
Right? Their chest feels lighter, their head feels lighter, or it's almost like I've had people say, now I can think about taking a next step. Whereas before, these were literally just not letting them move forward at all.
Right.
So this opens up so that I said it's really so you can give love and receive love. That's really what you're trying to do. And so when you have those heart walls, that heart field is very small and very tight. And once you move that, your heart field is huge. You can radiate things.
Right. Well, what I've come to realize, it took me a while, but I tried to pursue God by understanding Him through my
Mhm.
head, and that just
Sure.
never worked. So for
Yeah,
me, I commune with God through my heart. So I can imagine if you do have a heart wall, that's going to be a little bit harder. There's going to even be a block with you and your creator that's unnatural, and you can feel it and you long. I think our biggest desire in life is actually not survival, but to commune with God. That's
exactly.
that's my
We have to. That's what we're designed for.
right.
It's designed for that. So I very often will ask, we can have heart walls with ourselves. We
Mm.
can't move past something we did or we didn't do. We can have heart walls with people, obviously, because relationships are a big part of what we do here. We can have relationships with churches, the Bible, God, Holy Spirit, Jesus, or just the world, like that victim mentality you mentioned, the world, whatever that is. The world's always out to get me, or the world just never lets me get ahead.
Right.
So you have to really explore, yeah, where those are coming from.
So you could have multiple heart walls. You could also have layer upon layer of heart walls, right?
Layers upon layers. And the other thing, honestly, I feel like what I've found too is sometimes it's not just over the heart. I have found walls over different areas of the body,
Mm.
over different capillaries that are affecting capillaries that are blocking meridians. So sometimes I'll just ask walls, where are the walls? I'm looking for the log jams that are preventing energy from flowing. Most
Oh,
of them are in the heart, but they can be other places too.
oh, fascinating. Huh. Okay. So I think you said you usually start with the emotion code and then you can go deeper with the body code. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of times in about 20, 25 minutes, we can clear. The body's only gonna be able to let you clear so much because
Mm.
it still has to work through all these processes and rebalance. So
Hmm.
if it's somebody coming to me for the first time who's never had any clearing, it's like when you go to the dentist, you don't want to be at the dentist for 2 hours. Not the first time,
Right.
right? And so you're gonna do a light cleaning and then come back, hopefully, so they don't hurt you. So a lot of times that 30 minutes is more than enough. That 20 or 30 minutes is just, let's just start clearing some of the stuff out of the way, get some of the heart walls down, and then next session we can go deeper. And I usually recommend people do about 3 sessions because you're gonna clear a lot of emotional stuff the first time. Second stuff, you're gonna get more of these, okay, where's the sabotages and the blocks at? What didn't
Mm.
stick?
Hmm.
Third time, let's look at what's really going on. What's your body needing? Nutrition or building? Does it need some other type of work? So we can really kind of get you on a good foundation to get you balanced and moving forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. And I do like the fact that you're really not talking about things, you're not reliving things, you're just handling things.
And doing it very quickly too.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think I remember when I was in third grade, we had a contest about what's the most complicated machine in the world. And I don't remember what I answered, but the answer that we were given was the body. And
Mm.
so we've been raised in a society that just use us as like these biomechanical machines and denies our true. I mean, I feel that I believe that our spirit is animating our body and it has infinite wisdom, but we're disconnected from it because we've been trained not to pay attention, right?
Right. So when people very often feel this anxious feeling or panic feeling, it can come, the anxiety can either be from the inside of us, because there's maybe you've really got something sick. Maybe you've got a pathogen you need to deal with. Maybe you've been exposed to mold, or is
Mhm.
it an outside, something from the outside coming in environmentally, too much Wi-Fi? I mean, there's so many things that can cause, quote, anxiety, right?
Mhm.
But very often it will cause, like you said, our spirit to not leave our body because we'd be dead,
Right,
but disconnect. We dissociate. That's another coping mechanism that people
right,
use for trauma. And
right,
so, if you're finding that, quote, your spirit's out of body or not connected, there's a reason. And you don't want that to happen. I mean, the spirit needs to be plugged in, running the show, like you
right,
said.
right.
So any of those type of, symptoms that you get, or if you're just like, yeah, I dissociate a lot, there's a reason for that. Probably need to explore that a little bit more.
Right. Well, and I know in addition to the equine therapy, the emotion code, the body code, you do other modalities, but And I'll definitely put links in so you can connect with Meg after this. But so, are there any things that you would advise people to do to kind of protect themselves from the negative coming in, whether it's demonic influence, whether it's, EMFs, it's just the
Mm.
anxiety of the world,
Right. I wish I had just had one little pill that everybody could take and it would just be, you'd be good once a day.
That's right, a drop of
That
this.
would be good. I'll tell you, in my years of doing this, I feel like anything that's, if you think about you being on axis, okay, you're aligned, you're connected to God. This is how we're designed to be connected to God. This is when we're flowing in love, joy, all the fruits of the spirit, right? And if you have days like this and it feels really good, or maybe you have moments, it feels really good.
Right.
The problem is when we get off axis, fear has crept in. It's like when Peter started sinking, he was walking on water, life was good. And as soon
Right.
as he felt that fear, right, he got pulled off axis. And so anything that happens to us or we do ourselves has a root in fear. So why
Mm,
does the Bible say, fear not, fear not, fear not, fear not? I wish
mm,
it was just that easy. But we can get to that place. First of all, it's identifying, I am feeling fear, and this is not from God. I've not been given a spirit of fear, but a
mm,
power, love, and a sound mind. And so claiming those and capturing those thoughts when they come in is huge. And the more
mm,
of this type work that you do, the more you'll start to realize what's your voice and what's not your voice, right? We've talked about that.
mm.
So, spending time in God's word, memorizing God's word, putting up shields. I'll do this. I never go into Walmart without putting on my armor and a shield around me. I'll even ask God for upgraded armor sometimes. Like, Lord, I need really good armor this time. Because those forces and those things are out there. But instead of us focusing on, oh, I don't want to get hit with this. I don't want to get hit with COVID. I don't want to get hit with EMFs. That's bringing us back down into fear, right?
Mhm,
And scarcity. And so if we put our attention more of who I am and what I am, and which is really love centered, then all these
mhm.
other things can do what they want, but they're not going to stick. They're not going to matter. So
Yeah.
easy
No,
to say, harder to do.
that is so good because I was reading the gospel and this weekend and the story of Mary and Martha, right? And I think
Mm,
it's Martha that says, "Aren't you going to tell Mary to help me serve?" And he says, "You should not be worrying, right? You should be focused on the word of God." And so
he was
we,
here.
we do live in a world where it's trying to, get us
Constantly pulling us off.
constantly. So that's just right.
Mm.
Excellent. Excellent. So, yes, yes, do everything you can to recognize that those negative thoughts are not yours and then align yourself to your true spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else you want to share about the work that you do or
I just think it's fascinating, like you said, how the body's connected. Very often, it's funny, we'll find, somebody's coming in with headaches, and I find that their pinky toe is not adjusted or lined right. I mean, who would have thought, right? Like, and so just coming in with an open mind. Now, we love Western medicine, right? They're able to stitch us up and put us back together as needed. And so we need both. But I think just losing that paradigm and understanding that we are a complex machine, like you were talking about, divine being, and that there is a source that we can get information from. And when we come and I do everything Holy Spirit led, sessions are prayed over first, because I don't want to be misled and waste people's time as well. And so when we just come in and kind of humble ourselves before God and say, okay, show us where is the block? Where's the lie? What needs to be repaired? What needs your touch? Um, Things just happen and they happen very quickly. And
Mm,
like I said, I can't always map it out. It's kind of interesting to see where the body code's going to take you. Sometimes it's a bit of a journey. People are interesting, so it's fun to watch them, but I love working on animals
mm.
because they don't lie and they're so much more simple. They just don't carry the stuff like we do. So I
That's
think it's pretty incredible that God gave us a way to help our furry friends, our kids, our aging adults,
mm,
ourselves.
right.
Um, yeah.
Yes, because we are beings of light. Even science has proven that our cells communicate with each other with biophotons. We communicate with our environment with biophotons, probably with each other, right? So the work you're doing is, darkness is just the absence of light. So when you take away these energetic blocks, people can really shine their light. And boy, do we live in a world where we need people to shine their light.
And people will be drawn to you and they'll be like, "You're different. What are you doing?"
Right. Yeah,
They'll
'cause
recognize a change.
they will. They will. Okay, excellent. So where can people find you, Meg?
They can find me if they're interested in the ranch in particular. It's bitofhoperanch.org. We'll get you to North Carolina. They can find out more about equine therapy there. They can also look at the emotion code, the body code there as well. I also have a personal site, which is Renew You Energetics. So reneweugenics.com, they can go there and find out the different modalities and things that I offer. I do a discovery call if you want to just check in and make sure this is right for you or your family. I can chat and answer some questions for you on there as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much, Meg. And this has been a wonderful conversation. I look forward to more in the future.
Sounds good. Thanks, Caprice.
Okay, bye-bye. Let's see. I always forget to stop recording. Let's see. Stop. Yes.